Welcome, episode 14 of the Brown Bostonian Show. It's been a while. I'm your host, Kevin Parrington Turner, aka the Brown Bostonian, aka Sir South. And we are back here. We're back here, man. Another episode, another show. It's been a while. It's been a while. A lot of good stuff happening. We'll start by a little update on what I've been up to. Well, for starters, ran for the Patriot Ledger newspaper, and battle rap. Honestly, that's really been what I've been up to. We back. Been up to a lot of battle rap. Shout out to Elijah Straight. I had a battle takeover battle league about last month, 2 months ago. It ended up on the URL TV app. It's on there right now. Me versus Elijah Straight. Watch it if you got the app. Let me know what you think. And speaking of the app, we're gonna get into a lot of battle rap. We get to a lot of things today. Eventually it'll be on YouTube. That's also a Tay Rock battle. J Soldier. Shout out to Takeover. Shout out to everyone there who battled that night. You'll see me in the ring soon, hopefully. But right now, we're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about sports. Celtics. It's been a while. Kristaps Porzingis, he's come to the Celtics. He's come to the Celtics, and that's something that the C's really needed to their roster. Marcus Smart heading to Memphis. And if we're being honest, I think it's a great trade. I think it's much needed. After the C's went down 0-3 to the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, a rematch of last year, and they came back, brought it to Game 7, but they just couldn't finish it out. Jason Tatum twisted his ankle, but nonetheless, the season ended early, but the Miami Heat lost, and the Denver Nuggets won. Now, it's the off season. We got the summer league going on with Victor Wembanyama, but we got to talk about the Celtics. And Kristaps Porzingis getting picked up is a huge, huge upgrade from what the Celtics needed. Let's be honest, Robert Williams, he wasn't doing it. He just was not doing it for the Celtics. Al Horford, he's getting older guy that he just struggled. The Celtics big men struggled offensively. Kristaps Porzingis could score 20 points a night. It's just that simple. You already got Jason Tatum. You already got Jaylen Brown. Now Derek White. Now Malcolm Brogdon, who's the sixth man of the year. You already got those guys still on the team. Marcus Smart, he was great, former defensive player of the year. But as far as offensively, when you just have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, all you're really looking for in a point guard is someone who can play defense, which Marcus Smart absolutely can, but you're looking for a floor general, a guy that can get dimes and bring the team together when the game's collapsing. And Marcus Smart, he definitely was the heart and soul of that team. However, when you look at the front court that the Celtics had, it lacked so much to the point where we can't forget the 76ers series should not have won 7 games. It shouldn't have won 7 games. The reason why I won 7 games, MVP, Joel Embiid, of course. In the front court, scoring, no one could guard him. And no one in the league can guard him, really. If we're being honest, maybe the Joker, but no one really could guard him. But that's not the point. When he's scoring 40, people on the Celtics front court, the big men, together they're dropping 20. The front court collectively is dropping 20. That's a problem. That is a huge problem that just cannot happen. And what Kristaps Porzingis does, he stretches out the floor. He can shoot threes. He can score on the inside. He can drive to the basket. He can hit the mid-range. He can score off the dribble. He can do a lot of things for the Celtics. And he's a 7-footer. So defensively, he can protect the rim when needed to. Sure, he's not the strongest guy or doesn't have the best lateral quickness that some big men do in the league, but better than Robert Williams, and I think better than Al Horford. Those guys are probably going to be coming off the bench. I think Al Horford still deserves his starting spot. He's a veteran. It'll depend how much he keeps his youth up. I think his minutes are going to be even more limited, probably 20 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night. But nonetheless, Kristaps Porzingis changes a lot. You got to remember, Danilo Gallinari was picked up by the Celtics before the season started. Danilo Gallinari, another big guy that can drop 20. He could drop 20 in his earlier days. And that was before and then he tore his ACL before the season started, and then we never saw him again. But I say that to say Brad Stevens picked him up because he knew after losing to the Golden State Warriors in the finals that the Celtics needed to make a change in the front court and their depth on the bench. And he fixed that with adding Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari. Malcolm Brogdon ended up being the sixth man of the year, so obviously that worked. But having Danilo Gallinari getting injured, you missed a piece, and I think that completely was a big part of the reason why the Celtics couldn't make that leap back into the finals, especially with Bam Adebayo. He was just causing havoc. Jimmy Butler causing havoc, and it was a lot of it was in the paint and kicking out, and it was just the big men just couldn't keep up. Robert Williams, Al Horford, they don't really have the same lateral quickness as they once had. Al Horford, older guy now. Robert Williams dealt with a lot of injuries. He was dealing with a lot of injuries throughout the regular season. We can't forget that. So putting Kristaps Porzingis on the floor, that's big. That's big. I think it changes. Does it make them the favorites? Well, if we're being honest, I think it depends if Dame comes to the Heat. If Damian Lillard, who requested a trade, he wants out of Portland. If he gets to the Heat are absolute favorites to go back to the finals. Over the Bucks, yes. Over the Sixers, yes. It doesn't matter who they get. Dame Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, they're gonna figure it out. It doesn't matter. Gabe Vincent, I think he's at the Lakers now, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't matter. They'll figure it out. Tyler Hero's coming back. No more Oladipo, but they already got the pieces there. If they get Dame Lillard, it's a wrap. If not, then yes, I think this Kristaps Porzingis pickup, I think it pushes Celtics into the favorites to go to the finals, to go to the NBA finals. As far as Grant Williams, he's going to Dallas. Grant Williams is heading to Dallas. He wanted 20 M's. He made it vocal during the season that he wanted 20 million. He wanted to get paid. Did he show it during the season, this past season? No. Part of that's because he was injured. Yes. Do I think that's a valid reason? Maybe. I mean, during the playoffs, he played 17 minutes a game. He averaged 17 minutes a night during the playoffs. And, coming off the finals appearance, there was a lot of hype around Grant Williams because he could hit the corner three, he could defend on the perimeter, and he had enough strength where he can hold his own in the paint. Going to this past season, more scouts know him. The more players know him. He didn't really add too much to his game. Then he got injured. He had a hand injury, ended up getting surgery after the season. It was kind of tough for him. It was a tough go for him, but I think him going to Dallas makes a lot of sense. You got Kyrie, you got Luka, and you got another big guy that can shoot the three. And he's not like he can run the floor well because he's not like a 7-footer or anything like that. He can run the floor. I think he's the guy you kick out to. And he can get you second chances if needed. I think that's exactly what Dallas needs, and I don't think that's what the Celtics need right now anymore, especially if they're going to keep Robert Williams and Al Horford on the team with Kristaps Porzingis. So good luck for Grant Williams. Yeah, I think he's going to be good. He's got his money. So he's got 4 years, $54 million. He got it. Next, Celtics keeping Jaylen Brown. I don't want to stay on this too long. Saw it coming. Obviously the Celtics season didn't end the way he wanted to, and Jaylen Brown saying we'll see what happens after the season about whether he'll stay in Boston or not. It caused concerns, but as you can see, he's staying. Celtics was vocal about it. Don't believe any deal was done officially, because they got to give him the max, and I think letting go of Grant, letting go of some other players is gonna free up some stuff so they can make it happen. But they're gonna make it happen. That's why Kristaps Porzingis on this team is huge. It's a big deal. And keeping Malcolm Brogdon. At first, Malcolm Brogdon was going to be traded, but he stayed on the team. Now you have a guy off the bench. Derek Williams, I assume, is Derek White. I'm sorry, Derek White. I assume is going to start at point guard. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Malcolm Brogdon off the bench, Robert Williams off the bench, and I think Sam Hauser is going to make a huge step up into his contribution as a 3-point shooter and as a defensive player. He just got work on his defensive side of his game. Nonetheless, having Jaylen Brown is on the Celtics, keeping him on the Celtics is big. Every year the Celtics make a deep playoff run, and they're just one trade away. They're just one more added repertoire to their game, to Jaylen Brown's game, to Jason Tatum's game, from making that jump into winning a championship. And I think this year might be the year. There's no excuses now. Joe Mazzulla, he's going to be in his second year as a head coach. No excuses. No more excuses. He's going to have his coaching staff. He didn't have his coaching staff last year. You could tell. You could tell him that. You could tell there was a little bit of confusion for the Celtics roster as they were shooting threes. Some games they were shooting threes during the season and it was going in. Some games they were shooting a lot of threes and it wasn't going in. And then it was like, what do we do now? And it was still, you saw it in the playoffs too. But now there's no confusion. It's Mazzulla's team. He has the offseason to get right. He didn't have the offseason last year with Coach Ime Udoka, who's now in Houston. He just kind of got shoved into the position and he did the best he could, which was really good. He did really well. He deserves it. He deserves all the accolades that come with him. Nonetheless, there's no excuses now for the C's. There's no excuses. They got to win. If Dame goes to Miami Heat, I think the Heat should be the favorites. Nonetheless, even if a couple of guys are a little bit over the hill, nonetheless, Celtics, this Kristaps Porzingis really puts an eye on them if it wasn't already. J.D. Davison, for those who don't know, got drafted last year. He signed a 2-way contract, so you'll see him in and out the roster, in and out the NBA roster. He'll be in the G League still, playing here and there. He'll probably get a little bit of playing time, a little bit of opportunities and chances in the middle of the season. We'll see what happens. I don't want to stay too much on it. He's okay. I heard through rumors that he got a growth spurt in his adult years. If so, big shout out to him. I got to see a few G League games of him, and he was getting buckets. It's a little different in the NBA, but signing a 2-way contract shows that Brad Stevens still has some faith in him, and I think we'll see what happens. Nonetheless, the Celtics this past draft got Jordan Walsh out of Arkansas. He was a freshman, 38th pick for the Celtics. And I got to be honest, he's been balling. Been hearing good things about him. Seeing good highlights about him. He can shoot the three, take it to the basket. Tall, strength. Will he play? Nope. I don't even know Payne Pritchard's going to play. And Payne Pritchard had a really good season when he first got into the scene in the NBA for the Celtics. And now we haven't seen him last year, and he wants a bigger role. He made it vocal, and they're keeping him. They're keeping him on the squad. So I don't know if Walsh will play. I think just like Davidson, he's going to get his opportunity, and we'll see what happens. But nonetheless, it is what it is. That's it for the Celtics right now, man. As far as the NBA, new rules was added to the NBA for flopping. It was reported that now this upcoming season, and this is an in-season tournament too. But for now, we're gonna talk about the flopping. The new rule is refs can call flopping. It'll be a technical, and the other team will get to shoot the ball, and it will not stop the game. Next dead ball, referees will give the other team a free shot if they call the flop. Here's my thing about that. What if it's the fourth quarter? And the buzzer goes to zero. The buzzer goes to zero, and everyone thinks they won the game, and the ref's like, hold on, I saw a flop 20 seconds ago on a pick and roll. He fell to the ground. It was a flop. He tried to get an offensive foul. Didn't go, and we saw it. It's a flop. Now, shoot a free throw. Now the game changes. I mean, I think when you see how some guys in the league who aren't 6'9", who aren't lethal shooters, who can't jump out the gym, and how hard it is to be a defensive player. It's hard to be a defensive player in the NBA. Some of it's flopping. Marcus Smart, Pat Bev. There's a lot of guys who they get a lot of offensive fouls, and sometimes it's going to be a flop. I think that's part of the game. I don't like that I don't like that the NBA's kind of taking that away, because it's already tough to make a mark on defense, to get stops and create turnovers against guys who've been scoring 30 points in high school and 20 points in college, and guys who are lethal shooters, scorers, handlers, and not going to lose the ball. If you find a way to do something defensively, and it's like it feels like the NBA is continuing to try to take away a defensive aspect of the game. All these high scoring games. I'm sure in this upcoming season we're going to see more guys score 40, more guys score 50. Dame's going to go off of 50, 60. Klay Thompson's going to shoot 20 shots, make 17 of them. Steph Curry's going to have a couple 50-point games. Jason Tatum's going to have a couple 50-point games. It's just, it's fun to watch as a fan. It is, but at the same time, you get frustrated because you want to see defensive guys. You want to see blocks. I want to see blocks. I want to see guys lock up. I don't want to just see it. It just goes down to a good contested shot. And even then, if you have your foot too close to the guy, he flops and goes to the ground. It's a defensive foul, and hopefully they call that too. If they're going to call it both ways, they got to call it on the offensive shooters too. I really hope they do, because that's not fair either. That shit is not fair. It's absolutely not fair. So we'll see. I think these rules added is just another way of just more high scoring games, less defense, and then you see the All-Star game, how much it's like not becoming what it was. They keep changing the game just so they can make it more interesting. It's not the best. But nonetheless, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. And who am I to complain? We'll talk about the tournament, middle of the season tournament. We'll talk about it in the next show. Now we got to talk about the Denver Nuggets. Won the NBA championship against the Heat. Bruce Brown. Man, shout out to Bruce Brown. He's going to after he won his championship, brought it to Boston. Shout out to him. And he's going to the Pacers. He's getting paid 2 years, 45 M's. Deserves it, man. Deserves it. He played in Detroit, played in the Nets. He went to Melrose High School, then he went prep, then he went to Miami. He deserves it. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Bruce. I went to basketball camp with him years ago. Played BNBL. Saw him here and there do basketball. Shout out to Marquise. Rest in peace, Marquise. He was really good friends with him. Marquise went to high school with me, really good friend of mine. He was really close to Bruce. They played AAU together. So it's good to see someone from the neighborhood make it, especially win a championship. You see so many guys like Shabazz. Shout out to Shabazz, who won a national championship in college for UConn. Now he's playing overseas. Wayne Selden plays for Kansas. Now he's playing overseas. Nerlens Noel. I think he might be still in the league. I'm not sure, but to actually still do something like in the league, and he played a pivotal role. Hit the final free throws. Shout out to Bruce Brown. I just got to throw that out there. Next, the Summer League. I saw Victor Wembanyama. First game, he struggled 9 minutes. I think he only played like 20 minutes. I thought he was good. Almost got a double-double. I thought he was good. Of course, he struggled. He played a little timid. A little bit like, a little passive in his game. And then the second game, he went out and scored 27. And the Spurs clipped him. You're done. You're done for the Summer League. Hit threes, got rebounds, got deflections, altered shots at the three-point line just by putting his hands up. He's gonna make an impact. I don't know if it's gonna be necessarily too immediate for the Spurs, because with Greg Popovich, who knows if he's gonna start. I think he's gonna start because he's the number one pick and it's gonna be a lot of pressure. But Pop got a deal for another couple of years being the head coach for the Spurs. So it's up to him. We're gonna see. He's definitely gonna earn it. We'll see what happens with the Spurs. But Victor Wembanyama this summer league, he showed in just one game. He played 2 games, but he showed in the second game that he deserves to be in the league. He deserves to be the number 1 pick. I think it was a lot of hype behind him, but I think it's rightfully so. I do think so. If I had to predict, I think he's going to average about 12, 14, and 10. And 5. Easy. As a rookie. I think he's going to average around a double-double. I don't think he's going to average 20, 25. It's possible. It's super possible. He's going to have nights where he drops 25. He drops 30. But I think overall, he's not going to play 82 games. You can throw that out the window. He's never going to play a season with 82 games. But I think he will average about 14 this season. Nonetheless, that's all for the NBA. We're gonna talk about the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight. Is July 29th. When we get closer to that, I'm gonna start talking about that a little bit more. So I'm gonna throw that to the side. As far as battle rap goes, a lot has happened. Talk about the NBA. Talk about the Celtics. Now it's back to battle rap. There's been a lot of drama with Easy the block captain in URL. Easy no longer URL, going through legal troubles. K Shine as well. K Shine just dropped he was in a crazy sincere cipher. Shout out to your boy Clip for shooting that. Shout out to We Go Hard. He talked about it. He said 5. They got battle rap ain't what it seems. They got 5 missing like the submarine. He went crazy. He said, I ain't getting on no stage for no little bucks because the world know my slogan. Zip them up. Shout out to Shine. Listen, man. There's been a lot of legal issues that URL's going through. And now with this max out card with RBE, we seeing A Ward, A Verb, seeing I think Daylight is getting on the card. It's been interesting, man. It's been very interesting seeing the RBE and URL TV collide happening. The question if battle rap is dying, I don't know if it's dying, but it's definitely changing. And I'll say this. Here's why. Just like anything in entertainment, with ESPN, how they just had a bunch of layoffs with their on-air personalities, just how this writers and actors strike is going, anything in entertainment, the landscape is changing drastically. Since the pandemic, people have learned to do content from their own home and build a platform from it and find a way off of income, honestly. It's a good thing, but when you get that, you also get these big corporations kind of losing a grip of control. So what you start to see, especially in this battle rap, I mean, like to relate it back to battle rap, you see Easy the Block Captain have his own league now. It's related to Chrome 23. His battle just dropped with Reed Dollars in Philly, both 2 Philly guys. Shout out to Easy the Block Captain. Shout out to Reed Dollars. You got Geechee Gotti, where his battle league is going crazy, having URL guys through connections battle on his platform. This is big. This is big stuff. If you don't, it's no longer in order to see if we want to see Easy versus Geechee, Easy versus Twerk, it has to be on URL TV because who else is going to afford it? Who else is going to pay for it? No. Those days are over. They can battle in Ohio. Someone just puts the money together. They get a sponsor. They share the split at the door. How many people buy the tickets? And boom, you already got the money from it. And they just put it on YouTube. Does it take away from the excitement that URL brings because they have the money, they have the backing, they have the experience to really hype a battle up and really get fans excited? Yeah, but nonetheless, the landscape's changing in entertainment. Guys are on Twitter Spaces, IG Live, live streaming their own podcast, the URL TV app. It's changing. The landscape is changing. It's changing for the better in some ways. In some ways, it's not. There's a lot of people who don't have the URL TV app. There's a lot of people that do not have the URL TV app. Therefore, these new guys that are coming up, say 2 years from now, they want to go to RBE and get paid the same way, or King of the Dot, or some other league, John and Don's league, and want to get paid the same amount they got paid URL. I never seen you. How we know you got fans? A lot of the battle league culture don't know you. So what does that make people do? That makes some of these battle rappers who's on URL TV have to want to battle back in their home league and have it drop on YouTube, so they also get that effect, that amount of fans, and keep them happy, keep them satisfied. It's a game that's it can get very tricky very easily, and I don't know if battle rap is dying, but it's definitely changing. I think what him and Hollis doing with the Bags and Bodies, his TV show, and you see him on Wild 'N Out, Butterfly. He's on the news now. He's on TV. It's changing for the better, but there's no more monopoly. That's a perfect way to put it. There's no more monopoly of like there's one big corporation, there's two, and then they just take over. No, they're losing it. What I think and if I'm being honest, Sue Surf going to prison hurt URL because now it seems like Twerk is the face. He's been killing it. He's been killing shit. Let's keep it 100. Twerk has been killing shit. He's been on a path of destruction lately, but it's not the same as Sue Surf. Sue Surf can get on Joe Budden podcast. Sue Surf can get a feature from Jadakiss. You know, Sue Surf can just go on IG Live and get thousands of people on his live just because he's been doing it longer. He's been rapping longer than Twerk. Doesn't mean they're better or worse. I mean, they battle each other and Surf won, but it's just one of those things that Surf kind of did a little bit more outside of battle rap, and he was loyal to URL. So when he battled, it was a thing. And now that he's not there, and you got Hollow the Don, you got Charlie Clips, you got Aver, they're willing to go wherever the highest person is willing to pay him. You can't be mad at it. You can't be mad at it. And if I'm being honest, I think they should. I think the URL needs to put a little bit more money, give out more money for more contracts. And not these contracts of, Easy shared his contract where it was something crazy. A lot of battles for like no really set amount of money. And it's like, no, not those type of contracts. If you want Easy to block captain, you should have gave him a 5-year contract or 10-year contract for $100,000. Because now he's in the movies. Now, you know what I mean? Remy Ma's backing him. And if he did that battle on Remy Ma and came back to URL, that's something you could have figured out. But you could control that better. But if you're not giving these guys money and they going across the globe, they putting a lot of bread, a lot of their own time away from their families, away from their kids. None just did the third round this past weekend. You got paid what, $3,500 for a battle? And he said he missed a lot of family functions. I think a funeral. He had to go through a lot of stuff. You can't blame the company for it, but at the same time, I think you really gotta sit and think what's gonna help stay afloat, because URL it doesn't have the same sting. I mean, there's guys that still want to go there, it's still a dream of theirs. It's mine. It's one of mine. But if I'm being honest, from my point of view, I'm gonna say this. I did one PG, 2 Crucibles. The PG was in Virginia or Maryland. It was next. It was in DC or Maryland, Virginia. It was in the DMV. The first Crucible was in Philly. Second Crucible was in Virginia. All those traveled out of pocket. Troy helped on the PG one. Shout out to Troy. Shout out to Troy Martin. But for the most part, it came out of my pocket. All 3, it didn't work. It didn't work. I didn't get picked. Didn't get picked up. And part of that is definitely on me. Can't argue that. But the third one, the last Crucible that was just in Virginia, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but from what I've seen and what I've noticed, it was a lot of DMV rappers that were picked. And any of the Crucible judges or scouts that weren't from the DMV weren't there. They weren't in attendance. Tay-Rock was there. He was a scout. I think Caution was a scout. I think she's from Philly though. Shout out to the Caution. But Kells, I believe, is from the DMV. Bills, I think, is from the DMV. They was there. They was the only people able to watch. Battle rappers wasn't able to bring their entourage to rap. It was just the scouts, but not much of the scouts that were not from the DMV was there, so it kind of swayed. And the judges were from the DMV. Shout out to Squeako and shout out to Av, both from the DMV. And there's only 2 judges. So I'm not gonna blame it on recruitment because there's a lot of killers that came from the DMV that still remain to come from the DMV. It's not like they ain't doing what they ain't doing their numbers, but at the same time they're not doing their numbers in terms of stars, in terms of. But that you can say that with anyone, but at the same time, it's a little bit better when you get people from all over a little bit, and I think battle rappers are starting to find other options. Other ways. Look at A Ward. He's a star. And that's just I'm dragging it out a little bit too much, but I think that's my point. I don't think battle rappers done. I think it's just a lot of more options for a lot of battle rappers who've been frustrated for a long time, who feel like they deserve more, whether they do or whether they don't. URL's still always gonna be URL. They always got the respect, but I think it's a pivot point now. No more Caffeine. Not the same support from Caffeine as they once had. I think they need to figure out and put some money into something and really think where the direction they want to go. Simple as that. Nonetheless, man, that's episode 14 of Brown Bostonian. I'm your host, Kevin Parrington Turner, aka Sir South, aka the Brown Bostonian. I know it's been a while since we've been here, man. It's been a while. I'm gonna stay consistent. Gonna grow this thing, build this thing. Catch me on my blog, catch me in the newspapers, still putting out stuff, still putting out sports stuff. It's gonna be a lot more sports stuff as we go towards the fall. Obviously, as the season picks up, a lot more NFL, Patriots reviews, previews, all that stuff. Don't worry about it. And yeah, man, if you got some questions, hit me up on social media, hit me up on YouTube, comment. I'll be everywhere. Peace.